A couple of days ago, I got this pop-up on Signal, the popular messaging app I'm sure you've heard before, and chances are a lot of you might already use. What's interesting is that they're essentially introducing a subscription model. Since they're a nonprofit, they're calling it a recurring monthly contribution, but no matter how you want to phrase this, that's what it is, a subscription. Which in turn got me thinking. The past few years, subscriptions have become quite persistent. Of course, there's no denying people should be compensated for their work, and I don't have a problem paying for the services I use. But why does a messaging app of all things require this kind of payment model? Shouldn't a one-time payment be enough for such a simple application? The lower tier asks for 60 euros per year, with the top tier going as high as 240 euros. That is quite steep. Of course, it's a donation, so we're not really forced to pay anything, but it feels kinda crazy to me that a messaging app needs so much money in order to keep the lights on. And if we assume that only 0.2% of the 40 million active users will actually pay the minimum amount, we're still talking about almost 5 million euros per year. That is some good money for a messaging app. I don't want to put Signal on this spot, I just want to start a discussion about subscriptions and what that means for users. Signal is not the first, nor will it be the last app going for the subscription-based model. As a matter of fact, this is the main way companies like to do things nowadays. So, let's talk about it. I should preface this by saying that I'm not entirely against the subscriptions. I think they do serve a purpose and they work incredibly well in certain cases. For example, when it comes to goods like music and movies. These are essential to one's culture, so everyone should have access to them. And a subscription-based model solves that problem by making everything more affordable. We no longer have to pay 20 or 30 euros just to purchase one CD album. And if you want to own a certain movie or album, you're free to do that as well. This flexible model of renting or owning works really well for this type of medium. The subscription-based model is also one of the reasons professional software became so affordable. It wasn't such a long time ago when buying and using software like Maya was prohibitive to everyone except big VFX studios. In the year 2000, Maya Unlimited cost a whopping $16,000. In today's money, it's more than $25,000. Now, even a freelancer doing occasional 3D work can afford Maya. At the time of publishing this video, 1 year of subscription for Maya cost $1,700. So, subscriptions do have some benefits. The past few years though, we started seeing companies relying way too much on the subscription-based model. We also got to see companies offer coffee or shaving razors or even food as a subscription service. And when it comes to software, things got out of hand really fast. There's not much flexibility anymore between renting or owning, and simple applications that should have been a one-time payment are now subscription only. For example, this calculator app costs 8 euros per year. They're trying to be sneaky with the every 6 months language, so it looks like it's cheaper, but it's actually 8 euros per year. Every year until you cancel your subscription. I don't think anyone will actually pay for this calculator, especially since every phone comes with one, but still, it's a perfect example of how off the rails things have gotten. Or let's take as an example LifeSum, another mobile app that allows us to track calories. In order to get access to recipes that will help you lose weight, they're asking for a 28 euro per year subscription. And that's with a 50% off coupon. Otherwise, it's 56 euros per year. There are many more examples like these ones. YNAB is a budgeting app that also went the subscription route. A few years ago, it was a 30 euro one-off purchase, but nowadays it goes for 80 euros per year, which is a little bit ironic coming from an app that allows you to make better financial decisions. Even though the application is actually really good and I use it every day, it's become very difficult for me to recommend to others who are looking for a way to control their finances. What I'm trying to say with all this is that the subscription-based model doesn't automatically fit every use case. Not every service needs a subscription. Just because you can slap one to your product doesn't mean you should. And there are very clear cases where we can see the subscription model clashing with the actual service being offered. A great example of that is the app I mentioned earlier, YNAB. the user doesn't really benefit from the subscription, and that's because financial applications like YNAB should be one-time purchase products. There are no new features to add or anything really the user can benefit from by having a monthly recurring payment. Is it nice if a new feature is added? Sure. Can I live without it? Absolutely. So in this case, the subscription heavily benefits the company and not the user. And of course, this is the point where someone would say that the developers need to be compensated for their efforts and to continue working on the product. That's true, but that just means that your product probably cannot support a big team behind it, or that the company needs to be structured differently. That's why YNAB's competitor, Budget with Buckets, is getting a big boost in users. It's a one-person team offering not only one-time payments, but also fair payment depending on where you live. Keep in mind that YNAB's price of 80 euros per year is the equivalent of a month's salary in some countries. Is Budget with Buckets as good as YNAB? No, but it's still early in development and we're comparing a one-person team to 100+ employees. Does it do the job? Absolutely. I get the feeling that there's this expectation from companies offering their services as a subscription that this one idea of a product can and will set them up for life. But not everything is a multi-million-dollar idea or can support a fancy office space or hundreds of employees. So when companies are being asked about why they offer their products through this model, we get the typical answer. We need to support our development efforts and our incredible staff that supports you, and so on and so forth. But it all boils down to this. If your product cannot support a 50 or 60 person team, then it's probably a good idea to not hire 50 or 60 people. Which brings me back to Signal. According to Bloomberg, Signal employs 30 people. Never in a million years I would have guessed that a messaging app needs 30 employees to run successfully. I might be completely wrong and they might actually need all these people, but I kind of get the feeling that this number is way out of whack. Which brings me to another application, 1Password. The company behind 1Password claims that they have more than 500 employees. Let that sink in for a moment. A password manager has 500 employees. I'll assume that most of them are actually there for user support, but still, these numbers feel way too bloated. As I said, I might be completely off base and these numbers might be perfectly normal, but I get the feeling that some companies go the subscription route just to support bad business decisions. Subscriptions have their place, especially when the payment model doesn't go against the service. Then the whole experience feels great. And if users are getting a good deal out of it, they won't feel cheated. For example, Apple One is a ridiculously good service that ticks both of these boxes. The payment model doesn't go against the service, and the total package is really compelling. They have a cloud storage service, a VPN, music, movies, news, games, training, all rolled into one, and at a very competitive price point. And on top of that, they offer individual purchases if you want to own a specific album or movie, or if you just want one of their services and not all. For me, this is the perfect scenario where both sides win, the company and the user. If more companies offered this type of flexibility, there wouldn't be so much hate about the subscription model. Currently, users feel like they're being taken advantage of, and in a lot of cases that is certainly true, especially when it comes to software subscriptions. Your files are kinda hostage to the company. If you won't pay up, you won't be able to open your projects. Unfortunately, I don't think there's much that can be done on the user side. Of course, users can switch to other software that support one-time payments, but that is not always possible, especially if you're frequently working as part of a team. I think the bigger changes will come after a few years when there's going to be this huge subscription fatigue. Similar to what happened with the Marvel movies. At some point, people got tired of watching superhero origin stories and want to experience something different. I think this is the moment where we will get to see bigger changes to the way services are being offered. But who knows? Let's see how it will all turn out. I'm curious to hear though what you think about this whole subscription model, and I would also love to hear which subscription services you love and which ones are the ones you hate. Would be interesting to read all the different opinions. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.